Hey, what's going on? So, I'm not going to get too deep with it. Because this recording is a little bit longer. So, this one is going to be about actually resting, and I just want you to check this out with me. All right. But first, let me turn this truck off, and then let's check this out. Here we go. Now, like I said, it's going to be a minute. But, anything that I do, I try to put a little message to it. But check this out.
Just give us an opportunity. Shout out to the Sankofa Connectors. I love y'all. But today I wanted to revive our notion of rest. And it's a notion that I just want to state I'm always going to be grateful to people like Trisha Hersey for making rest as resistance an entire thing. Right? It's so grateful to have people who understand that work and who are able to help us navigate that space. But one of the things that I have realized about myself is that my resting as resistance is a little flawed. And one of the reasons I say it's a little flawed is because I've learned, and y'all know I'm sabbaticaling, right? Which is not really a thing, because it's not really a sabbatical because compared to like academics, you know what? I'm going to stop comparing myself to academics. I am not a faculty. I am staff at a college. So I don't need to compare myself to academics. It's a long-term leave, dang it. As a result of my long-term leave from my actual job, one of the things I'm realizing is that the habits that I would engage in before where I thought I was resting, I was not. And the habits where I thought that I was doing what was necessary, rest is resistance, center yourself, take naps, we inside, we gathering our energy, all that. I thought I was doing it right. And then what I've come to realize in this era of my life where I don't actually have an office to rush to right now, like I'm on this long vacation. So my office is running smoothly. Shout out to Lisa and Lyndon and everybody who's holding it down. Y'all doing amazing. I'm watching, but not paying, but I'm watching from a distance, But as that's happening, I'm grappling with the fact that I now have this thing called time on my hands that I've never had before, at least not as an adult, right? And so yesterday I was going to, I put up a couple of things on my list of things to do for the afternoon, and my baby girl was at, she has a summer camp in the morning, and so I went and picked her up, and I planned to come back home and do the things that I had put on my list to do. And my baby girl goes, "Mommy, let's go play." And I was like, "Okay, what you want to play?" Because I'm thinking maybe she wants to play some music. She's like, "No, I want to go play with you." And my daughter is about to turn 13. And I love that she still uses this concept of playing. And she thinks it's hilarious because when she tells her friends, "Come on, guys, let's go outside and play," they turn it into, because they're weird 12-year-olds and middle school kids, they turn it into something inappropriate, right? And she's like, "I want to play outside." And they're like, "Ew, play." They're weird. They're 12-year-olds. And if y'all are in the car listening, you're 12 years old. Sorry, we love you. We were all 12 once. We know y'all are weird. You will not always be weird, but to us, you're still weird, even though to you all, you're perfectly normal, and we're the weird ones, and that is exactly how it should be, and that is okay. But I'm thinking she wants to just do something quick, and she's like, "No, I want to spend the afternoon playing with you." And here's one thing I realized, because my children are 6.5 years apart. I realized that there's this thing that happens where the child that you had on your hip, the child that was your bestie, the child that you was like, "Oh, we are going to be in it together." There's this thing that happens when they become teenagers at a certain point where all of that breaks down and you got to rebuild it. I don't know what happens. Yes, I do. I was a teenager. All of that breaks down. So I know I'm on borrowed time. I know that when it comes to baby girl, I don't have a whole lot of time before I'm no longer cool. Right? And so she's not going to want to come home necessarily from 9th or 10th grade and be like, "Mommy, let's go play." Right? If she does, I'm saying yes. So I'm like, "Well, you want to hang out with mommy? You say you want to play?" Absolutely. We going outside to play. And this is teaching me, because this is not the first time it's happened this summer, but what this is teaching me is that my understanding of rest has been very, very flawed. It's been, I'm going to rest until I can put more things on my list of things to do. And I've been sort of weaning myself out of this notion that says if I'm resting and I have nothing to do, that I'm not wasting time. Right. I think it's a holdover from the slave era. I'm thinking about this, that I know there are a lot of people who have written about it, but our inability to rest easily is really just something that epigenetically we're navigating. And then this morning, the amazing Dr. Wendy Williams, with whom I was just in conversation for a pre-recorded discussion that you all are going to hear when I'm in Ghana. I'm looking, I'm just scrolling because my algorithm's amazing. And Dr. Wendy Williams comes across my timeline, and she has this amazing carousel of she's doing this concept called the well now. And she talks on the very first slide. It says, naps will not save you if you're still upholding the systems that depleted you. And I looked over my shoulder. I was like, Wendy, who told you my business? Like, you wasn't supposed to just put that outside like that. That we friends, sis. You're not supposed to do that. And I realized she wasn't just talking to me. She's talking to all of us. Naps are not going to save you if you're still upholding the systems that depleted you. And that habit that I have, that I'm trying to break myself out of, where I don't actually have anything to do with a certain block of time. And so I decide that I got to fill it. If I've got empty time, time must be filled with something to do. And this interaction with my daughter made me realize that's a problem. Like, that's flawed. So Dr. Wendy Williams says naps will not save you. She says rest is not enough. Naps will not save you if you're still upholding the systems that depleted you. She says rest without reckoning is just a pause. You recover, return unchanged, and the cycle resets. And I realized that's what I have been, in my effort to figure out what rest is, that's been part of my problem, right? Rest without reckoning is just a pause. You recover, return unchanged, and the cycle resets. That's why vacations for me can be so amazing. But then I come back into situations that are exactly as they were before I left, and I'm like, I need another vacation. I just got back. She goes on to say that there are steps we can take to make sure that our recovery can actually hold, and our recovery can only hold when it is paired with refusal. She says in her caption, naps will not save you for still upholding anti-blackness, white supremacy, ableism, and patriarchy. I said that plainly and I mean it. Rest without reckoning is just a pause. And then she goes on to say recovery only holds when it's paired with refusal. And she gives us the steps to determine so we can have a self-assessment as to where we are in this particular practice. The first thing that she says we must do is to name what actually drained you. The system or condition, not just the workload. It's very important. Name what actually drained you. The system or condition, not just the workload. And that's easy to do because we might say, I got too much work to do. My workload is too heavy. And that might be it. That might absolutely be it. But is it also that you're a willful participant and by not saying no to assignments you can't handle and that is beyond what you're capable of? Like, right? Maybe it is. Maybe the system or condition is external to you. Maybe the system or condition that is external to you is being supported by you and your inability to let go of slave era conditioning that says we cannot ever be still. We must always be in the act of production. The second thing, after we have named what actually drained you, and maybe it's a relationship you're in. Maybe he or she or they are draining you. Maybe it's your kids in a relationship. Yeah, but whatever it is, name the system or condition, not just the workload you're doing to engage within that system or condition. And the second thing she says is ask what you're still consenting to that you could withdraw from. This is huge. This one is very huge for me. Ask what you are still consenting to that you could withdraw from. There are areas where there are areas within each of our lives where we are saying yes when we should be saying no. There are areas in our lives where we should be rejecting opportunity because it's not really an opportunity. It's an invitation for more labor. And as opposed to rejecting the fake opportunity, we convince ourselves to say yes. I saw this whole conversation where people were talking about the fact that they had been put up for a promotion and said, no, thank you. They were put up for a promotion and said, no, thank you. I do not want to be considered for this promotion. Please remove my name from the consideration. And the reason they did that was because, as many of us know, when you get promoted, it comes with a hell of a lot more demands on your labor and not enough compensation to match the difference between the extra amount of work that you have to do now. Yeah, sure, you're going to get a title. That's cute. Yeah, that's cute. But your ability to have peace is going to be wrecked. And a lot of us are consenting to things that we do not need to consent to. And maybe we're doing so because we feel pressure. Maybe we're doing so because we feel like, I've worked so hard and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. No. Ask, what are you still consenting to that you could withdraw from? Finally, she says, choose one thing to stop upholding before you rest. Choose one thing to stop upholding before you rest. And she says we have to do that so that the rest has somewhere restored to return to. Because you trying to rest and you ain't clear nothing off your calendar, the rest ain't got nowhere to go. Where the rest gonna go? The rest is like, I'm trying to rest, but you all the spaces where rest should be are occupied with activity and actions. This was a tough one for me because I'm in the middle of it right now. I'm trying to unpack some things right now. I've committed to myself that when I go back to my job, I'm not going back the way that I left. Because the way that I was when I was there, way too much. And my husband was like, your entire office is probably so happy you're not there. And I was like, offense. Why would you say such a thing? He said, do you know what it's like when your boss is a workaholic? I was like, my team, yes, I'm a workaholic, but we have a loving, flowing. He was like, honey, you sign their timesheets. Ain't but so much love. He's like, you know how happy they are that you are not there right now. I said, you know what? They ain't happier than I am. They're not happier than I am. But we got to figure out this balance. And if you're like me, a lifelong overachiever, somebody who tied value to accomplishment, right, which is a tragedy of the Western society, then it's important that you recall and reclaim your time, but do so in a way that's going to actually be beneficial for you. So shout out to you, Dr. Wendy Williams. This was a good word, and I'm so grateful that I came across it, because it was exactly in alignment with some of the things that I'm navigating within my own life, in which I know many of you are as well. And so because I don't know what it is today that gives you a sense of joy or gratitude or appreciation, whatever it is, I want you to hold on to it, cherish and nourish it, and sprinkle as much of the juicy goodness of it as you possibly can into the lives of other people, because Lord knows, honey, we could all use a bit more of it. And
I told you this was a long one, but yeah, it's real important to get rest. And the thing is, you can't continue to do the same old and think you're actually getting rest. It's something to really think about. But like I said, I don't have that much to say today. But anyway, you enjoy your day, and I will be talking to you soon. Peace.